The coffee mug moved 2 inches to the left. Trish Miller stood at her kitchen sink, hands still submerged in soapy water, staring at the dark blue mug she'd just placed in the dish rack. She was certain she'd set it upright, handle facing right. Now it sat rotated, handle pointing left, exactly 2 inches from its original position. She blamed it on soap-slick hands at first. But that didn't explain the prickling sensation crawling up her spine or the feeling that someone was standing just behind her left shoulder. Trish spun around. The kitchen was empty, but the air felt heavy, charged, like the moment before a storm breaks. Her cat, Magnus, sat in the doorway, tail puffed, staring at the empty space beside her. "There's nothing there," she told him, and herself. Magnus hissed and bolted. That was the beginning. Over the next few weeks, small disturbances multiplied. Her phone captured strange distortions in selfies, smears of light that looked almost like faces. The shower curtain would billow inward while she bathed, despite the bathroom window being sealed shut. Magnus refused to enter certain rooms, and the temperature would plummet in random spots throughout the house. When she tried explaining it to her best friend Jenny over coffee, the response was predictable. "You're working too hard," Jenny said, stirring her latte. "That consulting project is eating you alive. When's the last time you took a vacation?" Her sister Kate's reaction was worse. "Mom started like this," she said quietly. "Seeing things. Maybe you should talk to someone." So Trish did. Dr. Hammond's office was warm and inviting, with soft leather chairs and gentle lighting. But when Trish described the handprints that appeared in her bathroom mirror's steam, perfect, small-fingered prints that weren't hers, the therapist's pen scratched across her notepad. "Have you considered anti-anxiety medication?" Dr. Hammond asked. "Sometimes stress can manifest in unusual ways." That night, Trish woke at 3 a.m. to find every piece of furniture in her bedroom rearranged. Her dresser had swapped places with her bookshelf. The bed itself had rotated 90 degrees. She called the police with trembling fingers. Officer Carey found no signs of forced entry. "Your doors and windows are secure, Miss Miller. Are you taking any medications?" But this time, Trish had proof. She pulled up the security camera footage on her phone. The officer's eyes widened as they watched furniture sliding across the floor on its own, the movements deliberate and precise. 3 days later, FBI agent Sarah Winters showed up at her door. "I've been reviewing your case," Winters said, badge glinting in the porch light. She had dark hair pulled back in a neat ponytail and sharp eyes that missed nothing. "Mind if I come in?" Relief mixed with fear. Trish's story spilled out as they sat in the living room. Winters didn't take notes. She just listened, occasionally glancing at the empty corners of the room as if she expected to see something there. "Your house has a history," Winters finally said. "In 1954, a woman named Eleanor Hayes disappeared from this property. Her case has been cold for 70 years. I found the case file 3 years ago, and something about it wouldn't let me go." She pulled a yellowed photograph from her briefcase. "Does this look familiar?" Trish's hand shook as she took the photo. The woman's face was the same face she'd seen smeared in light in her selfies. "I've been studying this case for years," Winters continued. "Hayes wasn't the only victim. There were others, all unsolved. But this house, this is where it started." The medication Dr. Hammond prescribed sat untouched on Trish's nightstand. The incidents hadn't stopped, they'd intensified. Words appeared in dust on her mantelpiece. "I died here." Her sleep app recorded whispers in the night. The musty scent of old cologne would fill rooms without warning, and she kept finding vintage photographs tucked into drawers she knew had been empty. One rainy night, Trish was making tea when she heard it. The soft squelch of wet footprints appearing on her carpet, one after another, moving toward her. Agent Winters had given her a panic button. She pressed it as she watched the invisible steps advance. The footprints stopped 3 feet away. The temperature plunged. Without thinking, Trish threw her tea at the space above them. The liquid outlined a figure in the air, a woman in a 1950s dress, her face a mirror of the photograph Winters had shown her. Eleanor Hayes. Agent Winters burst through the door, gun drawn, then slowly lowered it. "My God," she whispered. "She's been trying to warn you." The ghost's form solidified and her mouth moved. No sound came out, but her hands gestured urgently at the wall. Winters stepped forward, pressing her palm against the plaster. "It's hollow," she said. They found the evidence cache behind the wall. Photographs, jewelry, trophy items from a dozen victims. And newer photographs, surveillance shots of Trish taken through her windows over the past month. Revealing the truth, the original killer had an accomplice, Winters explained as forensics teams swarmed the house. Someone who knew where all the evidence was hidden. Someone who continued the pattern. She held up a modern camera. "We found this with the cache. The killer's grandson. He was watching you, planning to make you the first victim of a new cycle. Eleanor's been trying to stop history from repeating itself." The arrest was made the next day. Richard Hayes, Eleanor's great-nephew, had been living 3 blocks away studying his grandfather's old hunting grounds. The evidence Eleanor helped them find put him away for life. Winters filed her official report without mentioning any supernatural assistance. But in her private files, she added Eleanor's photograph to the closed cases section. A week later, Trish came down for her morning coffee to find her blue mug had moved again. Beside it lay a newspaper clipping from 1954, "Local woman missing, feared dead." Something had drawn a neat line through the headline and written below it in dust, "Closure, found." Magnus jumped onto the counter, purring, and rubbed against the empty air where Eleanor Hayes had finally found peace.